we are going to take up a collection, but not just a collection. Jane brought back a very beautiful shirt here today, and we're going to have an auction. We're going to have an auction, and now I guess we'll do both. What do you think?
Pass the hat and an auction.
Yes, we're going to pass the hat too. Everybody here is going to give. Everybody here is going to give. We need to raise $2,500. Now that sounds like a lot, and I don't think we'll raise it all here tonight, but we might make a real chunk in this, right? So no one goes home impoverished, especially folks from the West Coast and Chicago, right? So let's see, we'll take, and we'll hopefully bid this beautiful shirt, which is the flag itself.
2,500.
That's patriotism.
This is Syria.
This is Syria. That is, my goodness. Oh, we're still going to pass these red buckets because everyone here, we want to continue. We want to take this on the road, and we can do that with donations of everyone here. You can also make tax-deductible donations. That's the People's Rights Fund. You can put in all the paper that's in your pocket, or anything in between, because that really, I think you heard from the speakers, and we want to have forums across the country, and to do it in participation with the Syrian American Forum and with the Syria Solidarity Movement, and we'll be reaching out to many, many other forces. I think are there some red buckets in the back?
I happen to be the treasurer of the Syria Solidarity Movement, which is one of only 3 groups that are working together. It's also the International Action Center and the Syrian American Forum. I was asked by my group to look at our fund situation. So before coming here, I checked on all of what we owe and what we spend and so forth. The total amount that we have in our bottom line is $109. Okay, that's what, after spending on all these other things, that's what we have, $109. And I know that IAC also lives on a very, very small income. So please, if you want to enable us to do the kinds of things that we're doing, we need your funds, and this will be a wonderful way for us to go back and to shame some of the other people that we have to by saying, look what these people in New York donated. So we're looking for you to teach a lesson, and you already have, by the way. So thank you.
And as I say, if you want to make tax deductible donations, that's to the People's Rights Fund.
What's the name of it?
People's Rights Fund. Okay. Yes.
I can speak in Arabic. أنا بدي أحكي بالنسبة للمنتدى السوري الأمريكي. نحن مؤسسة صغيرة بدينا. المؤسسة صغيرة لتكبر نحن لازم نساعدها. نحن ما بنطلع يمكن بالشوارع وبنقول شعارات وكذا، بس نحن بنشتغل سياسة بالفعل. بس حابة لكم شغلة صغيرة للسوريين. نحن نقدر نكون نأثر على القرار، لازم ندعم نحن الكونغرس، لازم ندعمهم بالانتخابات، لازم نوقف معهم. فمعناتها نحن لازمنا كمان دعم من السوريين لنصير مثل اللوبي الصهيوني، لنقدر نكون ناخد قرار. لا تطلعوا على المؤسسة هلأ، تطلعوا عليها بعد سنتين، لأولادكم، لأولاد أولادكم، لأحفادكم. ممكن نحن نكون كثير نقدر نحط القرار وقت اللي منكبر اللوبي تبعنا، بنحترمه، بنقدم له، لنكبر نحن وياه، لنكون نحن وصلنا على القرار. وهنيئا لسوريا بفكرة ساف، هنيئا لها بالفكرة، لأنه نحن بدينا صح، وإن شاء الله حتشوفوا النتائج لقدام. الكل عم يشتغل بصمت، سياسة، مع سيناتورز، مع كونغرس، لنقدر نكون أثر على القرار الأمريكي لوقف الحرب على سوريا، لنقدر ناخد القرار لصالح كل سوري موجود هون مغترب. فبتمنى من حضراتكم كل مين بيقدر يساوي دونيشن كمان لساف مشان نكبر ونقدر ندعم الكونغرس بالانتخابات، مشان نقدر نكبر ونكون عنا نوصل للقرار، لنقدر نأثر على القرار الأمريكي. شكرا لكم.
Okay, we're going to open the floor for a few minutes for comments, and might be questions, but feel free, or announcements right here.
On behalf of all the Syrians, and the question basically for any of you, Paul, Joe, Jane, Scott, who financed your trip? Did the Syrian government coerce you? Did they pay for you? Or better yet, did you have difficulty entering Syria? And if there was no difficulty, how come none of our beloved American media was not there to represent the whole media, to know what's happening? How come only few courageous people like yourself are there, that we are so proud of, and we are so comforted with people like you? Yes, we will win and Syria would last.
Okay. In terms of the financing.
I think
Oh, you want me to go to-
speak from here because it's connected.
Okay. In terms of the funding, pockets. Some of it were the groups that we were talking about tonight, but honestly, we would not have been able to do this without some serious outside funding. And we're a network. We're a network of activists that have connections in Europe, in the Middle East, in lots of different places. We tried, I can speak for the Syria Solidarity Movement because that's but we were trying to find a way to go to Syria and to get the visas and so forth to do this. And it was one of our connections that was somebody that I've worked with for a long time, actually, in Iran. He's not himself Iranian. He is Kashmiri, but he's with an organization, an NGO in Iran that was also working on the same problem, and he succeeded. He succeeded at the last minute, and he was able to get his organization to provide a lot of the funding. The name of his organization is the International Union of Unified Ummah, and they were very generous. And their situation is also not good because of restrictions on currency in Iran as well. So we were very happy to work with these people who've worked for justice on many other issues, and of course with the organizations that we had here. So this is a lot of where the funding, and as I say, some of it came from our own pockets. So
The Syrian government did not pay anything because...
No. The Syrian government, as far as I know, didn't pay a penny, and I wouldn't ask them to. And in fact, huh?
They drove us around.
Yeah, they drove us around. Maybe they paid for the gas. But and honestly, we wouldn't want it that way, to tell you the truth, because it could taint what we're doing. So we prefer to work with NGOs and that sort of thing. So, thank you.
Was actually the AP, the Associated Press, was present. Oh. They refused to talk to any of us.
I see here and then over here. Yeah.
I'm Diane Sayre, and I am with the LaRouche Political Action Committee, and I have recently been a candidate for U.S. Congress, so I think we could ask other nations to send some election observers to the United States for what I just experienced. What I would like to address is what the ambassador said about the political situation, because people may remember in 1999, Tony Blair declared the end of the Westphalian system. And the Treaty of Westphalia ended the 30 years religious war, and the idea was that nations know revenge, and you act in the interest of other nations, because we recognize that we only survive if we act in the interest of our neighbors. Tony Blair explicitly ended that policy. And what you have now in Iraq, Syria, Ukraine are not mistakes. That what we are in is the end of the financial system. That 25 years ago this year, the Berlin Wall came down because you had the end of the Soviet system, and Maggie Thatcher and George Bush opposed the reunification of Germany, and we had wars in Yugoslavia and Iraq. Now we have the end of this bubble. We are going to bail in, where you have to pay to deposit your money in a bank. In the US, we see the pension funds being looted, the population being looted, and London and Wall Street want World War III before the system detonates. So the target is Russia, the target is China. The danger we are facing is a thermonuclear war. And therefore, I do think it's urgent that President Obama be impeached for the same reasons Cheney and Bush should have been impeached, and that the United States must return.
It's now the U.S. is looking toward Iran, that it has once and continues with this sort of two-headed monster of a policy that it has to isolate Iran, that it is now looking toward as a possible partner in resolving the situation, if I'm correct. This is the airheads in the U.S. media, in Syria, because the American people, I think, are becoming aware for the first time, and certainly it is true of the U.S. soldiers, that the U.S. is funding Al-Qaeda and those jihadist elements in Syria, the same as they are funding them in Syria, the same as they have these elements fighting against Syria and other parts, including Iraq, which is exploding in the U.S. face, absolutely exploding. So the maneuverability to lie their way out of this situation is becoming much more fraught with just a mind-blowing lies and contradictions that the American people are just beginning to become aware of. They can't keep it up. It's impossible. And this is in the midst of an economic collapse, because the economy is collapsing, has collapsed, and they can't do it. And this military intervention really trying to monopolize the resources of these countries through chaos, wars of chaos and division, it just can't work. It just can't work anymore. And now they're faced with this obstacle. Are we going to send in U.S. troops? Well, we got to send them in, but we're going to use drones. And people around the world are hating the U.S. because of the use of drone and the murder of children, women, old people. Now they're using drones by the New York City Police Department and public housing that is largely occupied by blacks and Latinos. So all of this stuff is coming down on them because their quest for global domination is exploding in their face. And if you could comment on this, what is their pivot toward Iran in order to resolve some of these pressing issues within the region, not to mention the troubles that they are now facing in the Ukraine.
Okay, go ahead.
To answer your comment, one of the biggest disgraces that, as a military officer, that I love my country, but I despise my government for doing is that he is funding the same people that are killing our soldiers.
Exactly.
And to lie to our public and say that he's funding the people that are quote unquote helping to form the governments and support the countries like Syria that are supposedly help to build the country, where they're actually killing the people, like these organizations, Qatar and in Turkey, Al-Qaeda, the people that brought down the World Trade Center, the people that are in Saudi Arabia who actually bankrolled the pilots to come here, get trained. It's a whole conspiracy that the American people, they turn a blind eye on, that don't want to hear the truth. And our government lies so much to cover up these facts that our own president, he lies so much that he doesn't know what the truth is anymore. And when you get to the point where you don't know what to say because whatever you say is going to be a lie, why bother saying anything at all? You know, he sent the USS W. Bush back into Iraq, but everything that we did, I did 3 tours in Iraq and 1 tour in Saudi Arabia, and everything that we did and all the friends I lost there, now that they went back and took Iraq City, what did we accomplish? Now that they recaptured, you know, Iraq City again, what are we going for? Now President Obama is funding the same people that killed our soldiers, the same people that President Obama is supporting to kill his Syrian children, the Syrian people, but he's denying even having involvement in doing this. I mean, this is one of the main reasons why, you know, we need to stick together and stand up as a people, not just Americans, but as a universal community, to stand up and say this has to stop. The lies has to stop. The public has to be made aware of these lies. You know, this administration has to go. It's enough. Enough people died. Enough bloodshed. Children have to have a future in a world of peace. And it's time now that they have to be secured for their lives to be able to have that future. And for this to continue, it's a shame. It's a crying shame. And it's criminal is what it is. And now is the time that we have to act. We're up, you know, we had our lives already. We live now for our children to have a life. And if we don't give that life to our children, what future is there going to be? You know, and that's the shame.
Now, friends, we have a problem. Thank you. We have to finish this meeting in less than 5 minutes. So there are 4 hands that I saw, but I'm going to ask each of you to keep it to less than a minute, so that, you know, this is part of, we're all going to work together on this, right? So I see Kazim here. Okay, and then this woman here, and then over there. Is that?
Question.
Okay, in 1 minute, we can talk about Syria 10 hours and it's not enough. But I just want to admire the Syrian government, very openly. Syrian government was special. Let me tell you why. It never allied with the power to keep the power. they never allied with the United States in any tactical reason, for any reason, to defend Syria or to defend Palestinians. They always relied on the people. I wonder, but we had with the Iranians. They told me they're going to overthrow in 1 month, 2 months, 4 months. Some of them, they were good, they said 2 years. I dare said they were never able to overthrow the Syrian government because it's united with the people and it's always defended the right. When Arab fight with Iran with the support of the United States, Syrians defended Iran. They never, Iran, if it takes the tactic of relying on the United States against some other third world country, they're going to lose themselves. I'm saying that as an Iranian. We should never rely on the United States to defeat a third world country. That United States should be out of Middle East, should be out of Iraq, out of everywhere in Middle East.
Thank you very much. My name is Nabil Abdelal, and now I'm short of time and I try to make this very fast. You talked about the American policies over the years with so many governments, so many administrations, and the end result is a big loss, be that in Vietnam, Korea, Iraq, you name them. And I wonder when will the American government or administration pay heed to the big losses and the consequences. I don't have a panacea for that. My English is not my mom's tongue, and internally they try to hoodwink everybody into believing that externally they are trying to stem the weapons of mass destruction. At the same time, internally they are nourishing weapons of misdirection. They misuse and confuse these terms intentionally. When we listen to words like war against terrorism and then against terror, I'm sure they know the difference, because the only common denominator between terror and terrorism is that they share the same root, unless the end result is to terrorize some people and whatnot. There is a thin line between democracy and anarchy, between confidence and confidentiality. Once upon a time, a little child asked his father, "What is the difference between confidence and confidentiality?" And the father looked at him and he said, "You are my son. This is confidence. That child standing over there is also my son, and this is confidentiality."
Thank you.
You have to stop them. You have to make sure that they understand the accumulated impact of these systematic, seismic wars going on. And the only reason they go on, as Shakespeare put it in,
We're keeping this to a minute.
As,
so thank
yes, as you like it, which I don't like it. What is the? I'm trying to get the quote and it escapes me. Sweet are the uses of adversity. Sweet are the uses of adversity. They are doing this because they can get away with it. They can get away with murder, and nobody gives a damn. Thank you very much.
I'm going to go here to Joe. And,
1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute.
Just one, if I may,
1 minute.
a specific question for our friend Dr. Jaafari from the heart. First, my name is Sam Hajar, Syrian by birth, American, proud American by choice. I'm a physician practicing across the river in the Hudson County. I am Syrian by birth, American by choice, and I'm proud, and I'm a physician practicing in the Hudson County. Quick question to our friend Dr. Jaafari from the heart, without words, without any. If we take the wars, all of them, across the history is finance interest. And when the United States went into Iraq, they were beating the drums of war, weapons of mass destruction or single destruction, dictator, he gassed his people, he did this. I said this is all can be defended. What's the war there? Interest, oil. Saddam Hussein is sitting on 25% of the international reserve. So there's a reason there. And Jim Baker, he said, jobs, 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 money, money, money. We come to Syria, and I'm sure the United States can stop this war in 1 week. Can stop it. Can tell Turkey and everyone sit down. United States initiated this war, sustaining this war. We continue to stay now 4 years and maybe 10 years. Who knows? What's the reason, United States, the real reason, deep inside your heart, your analysis, your experience, your wisdom, what's the main reason that the United States started this war? Did the Syrian government have pre-monetary messages or some letters from visiting dignitaries or U.S. senators, do this, or otherwise we'll do it, we'll do that? Did the Syrian government receive any messages or any warning about this war is coming? So how, this is the way we know what is this war all about, why the United States started it and sustaining it. Dr. Jaafari, please tell us from your heart.
We're going to give Ambassador Jaafari the last word, but we had a couple of other people we called on, and I'm going to hold you to 30 seconds.
Yeah, right.
So.
Good luck. Fast. Hello, I'm Joe Lombardo. I'm the National Co-Coordinator of the United National Anti-War Coalition. 2 members of the U.S. delegation were from our coalition, Joe Eisenbacher from Chicago and Judy Bello, who had to catch a plane to go back home to Rochester, was also there. And Sara is also, all 3 of them members of the administrative committee of our organization. We understood that this election would be the biggest blow to the United States and its policies and U.S. imperialism in Syria, because the Syrian people spoke, and there is no basis. They tried to say that Assad was against his people, and the people were against him, and the people of Syria spoke, and that is more powerful than any weapon that can happen. Now, the U.S. is a very powerful country, but there's one thing that's more powerful than the United States government, and that's the United States people, and that's our job. And I just want to pledge to everybody here, and especially my friends from Syria, that we will continue to work to stop our government and not allow them to destroy this wonderful country, Syria, and we will build a movement that will stop them, and they know the power of this movement. That is why when they announced that they were going to bomb Syria, they all of a sudden started seeing, we called for demonstrations in 130 places around the country. Demonstrations materialized, and they knew they had to back off because they didn't have the support of the one power that's greater than the U.S. government, and that's the U.S. people. I pledge that we will continue to be by your side. People from every country in the world have the same needs, the same desires, and we will be by your side.
Sister here.
Thank you. I've heard about I agree with what's said about the U.S. government, but as I know you from the UN and have watched this whole thing at the United Nations for over a decade unfold against Syria, Iran, people in the region, the UN is not being an honest broker, and it's becoming very obvious, and it's embarrassing. And to see the UN Secretary General and the UN just become like the front group for old colonial Western Europe, and those same people from Congress of Berlin, it's embarrassing. I mean, it's tragic, and but that being the case, what are the? There's no honest broker there. It's literally Syria against, in a sense, the world. So what is the possible outcome on that?
We'll give the ambassador the last word on all of this, and thank you.
Thank you, Sara. Thank you so much for the excellent way you have managed the direction of this nice evening. Actually, each one of the questions you have raised, namely speaking, the last 5 questions, would require hours and hours to answer them. However, I guess, mainly speaking, that the beauty of the American values, the constitutional values, the founding fathers of America, the beauty of these values has transpired a couple months ago when the American public opinion, led by these very wise speakers, influenced the American administration to stop its plans to attack Syria. This is the real America we love, and this is the real America we are proud of. I always mentioned in my statements at the United Nations that the Syrian people are not the enemies of the American people. On the contrary, 1 million Syrians decided to migrate to USA, and they choose this country to become their country by choice, as the doctor said. So our problems with the American administrations are rather political. The presidential candidate, the former one, Ross Perot, one day said something very interesting, very indicative and informative with regard to the American political life. He said, soccer has rules. Anything has rules, except politics. Politics in USA have no rules. And he is right. He is right. I don't want to interfere into the bipartisan system in USA and why there are no 3 parties or 4 parties or 5 parties. This is not my business. I'm a guest in this country, so I would not comment on this choice. But what I'm saying is that I think the American administration is seeking, due to the fact that, given that it is a giant on this planet, a big power, is seeking geopolitical goals in its foreign policy. Syria, Iraq, Egypt, Palestine, Ukraine, you name it, even Pakistan. We might be details in this geopolitical landscape. And we have to agree that we are a small country, Syria. Compared to USA, we are a small country and we are not seeking military confrontation with USA. We don't have this aspiration or this hidden agenda. On the contrary, we would like USA to be deeply involved, positively speaking, in solving the problems of the world. I'm telling you this because I know what I'm talking about. I have been ambassador of my country to the United Nations for even 8 years so far. 2 years before that, I was ambassador to Geneva, to the UN in Geneva. So 10 years working at the United Nations on a daily basis, 4 hours with my colleagues, the Syrian diplomats. Sometimes we have the feeling that there is no United Nations. It's a circus. Sometimes we have the feeling that this is a circus. Where is the international public, where is the international law? Where is the charter, the provision of the Charter of the United Nations? I will give you one example. It happened today. The Western group, Europe, USA, Canada, Japan, Australia, submitted the candidacy of Israel to the post of Vice Chair of the 4th Committee in the General Assembly. I know it's technical, maybe some of you are not aware of that. The 4th Committee deals, mainly speaking, with the issue of the Palestinian cause, the Palestinian occupied territory, UNRWA's activities for the Palestinian refugees, the Syrian Golan. This is what the 4th Committee is about. So Europe and USA, Japan, Australia decided to submit the candidacy of Israel to the post of Vice Chair of this committee. And they won. This afternoon they won. They got 67 votes, 76 abstentions, and I don't know how many in favor. What a scandal. What a scandal. Israel is chairing the fourth committee that deals with the Palestinian question. Could you believe it? This is the UN. This is the UN of today. This is what we are suffering of every day. I can give you examples and examples and examples about the deterioration of this organization. Another example, today we had a briefing at the United Nations with this distinguished panelist. 1 hour. Of course, there were correspondences between the Syrian mission and the UN Secretariat about this event. We exchanged letters, emails, phones, everything was fine. And they asked my secretary, do you need webcast? We said, yes, we need webcast. We went there. 5 hours after I started the introduction, they shut down the webcast. 5 minutes. There is no record. They shut down the broadcasting of the event. That never happens. We, the Syrian people, we pay $1 million every year to the budget of the United Nations. We are not here begging anybody. We pay every year $1 million to the budget. It's our rights to be heard through the UN mechanisms. But they shut down the broadcasting so that nobody outside would follow on what's going on inside, so that nobody would hear the voice of these ladies and gentlemen about what they saw in Syria. It's amazing. It's really amazing how immoral this United Nations has become. It's really amazing. I have been in this business for 35 years. 25 of them maybe spent at the United Nations, here and in Geneva and elsewhere. I have never seen the UN like this before. Never. Never. So, I'm sorry,
The reason why United States is doing that is
United States, there are many reasons, actually. There are many reasons. Some of them are domestic. Some of them are related to the hegemony, the willingness of being hegemonical all over the world. You know, there is an English saying that says, power leads to corruption, but superpower corrupts. So when you feel that you are invincible, you are a Superman. When you have this feeling of being a Superman, you make mistakes because you are a human being. You will never be able to fly. But you give yourself and the others the impression that you can fly and we cannot kill you with the bullets. So you invade Afghanistan, you invade Iraq, you invade Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, you name it, Libya, Korea, and then why not Syria? It's a psychological cycle of manipulation. Sometimes people manipulate themselves because they have wrong information about themselves. So there are many reasons, but in my humble opinion, our own problems in the area are related, mainly speaking, to what one of the speakers said, Israel. Israel. USA is somehow seeking unconditionally to protect the Israeli wrong policies in the area. There are many proofs many evidences about that to prove that what we are talking about is right, but we don't have the time, and maybe we'll talk about it on a different occasion. What I'm trying to say is that we are in favor of building bridges of understanding, respect, mutual respect between Syria and the United States. We are not seeking confrontation. when President Obama was about launching his military aggression against us because of the so-called chemical issues, I was on CNN. I said, this is wrong. This is wrong. We are not seeking military confrontation. Those who will die by the American cruise missiles will be Syrians only. There will be no American boots on the ground. The victims will be only Syrians. Only Syrians. The same thing, it's happening right now. Yesterday, 2 days ago, our military killed 15 Malaysians, terrorists from Malaysia. 15. Every day, our army kills Australians, Chechens, Algerians, Libyans, Saudis, Kuwaitis, Qataris, Turks. They are not Syrians. We are fighting terrorism on behalf of the whole world. And this is why some people in the West, the hypocrites, are happy with this, because they are exporting all the garbage to us. Let us export all this garbage to the Syrians, where they will kill Syrians and be killed by the Syrians. So please, as long as you don't get back to America, it's fine. But once we see one of you in London or Paris or Brussels or Washington, then the story will change. And this is why they are speaking about them, because some of them sneaked out of Syria and got back. That was not the plan. The plan was that you go, you don't get back. It's one-way ticket.
الله محيي الجيش الله محيي الجيش الله محيي الجيش الله محيي الجيش.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I wanted to address some of your very valid points, but I'm proud of you, honestly speaking. I'm your brother. You said United National. I'm in favor. I'm in favor. I'm proud of you guys. God bless the real America you are representing. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Clark.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Clark. Yes.
I'm going to make one pledge to the ambassador. This UN press conference that was not broadcast, we need a campaign. Now, we have the tape. We have the video of that. We already have the link. And I think we will make a real struggle to see if we can't make it go viral. Because, you know, it's very important to know it was shut down, that it wasn't allowed to broadcast.
It's not the first time it's happened.
And so...
Only with me.
And so this we want to spread the word and ask many, many people to post this today's press conference. I think that's the way to respond in a combative way. And thank you for everyone.
Thank you so much. Excellent.
شكرا لكل الحضور.
And this is our hero today.
Oh yes.
Thank you so much.
All hero.
Dr. Bashar.
Thanks for everyone. I want to say to my country in our language, it's easier for me. I want to say to Syria, عربون وفا لسوريا، نحن معاكي. عم ندافع عنك